Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you my summer anticipated releases. So today I'm going to be going over 15 books that are coming out in the months of June, July, and August. That's what I consider to be my summer that I am excited about. Honestly, most of these are coming out in June and July. I don't know if I'm just like unaware of a lot of the August book releases that I could be excited about, but I just didn't have a lot of August releases that made my list. Keep in mind this is separate from my TBR. I will be filming and posting a summer TBR video. These are just new releases that I'm excited about. I generally don't read a ton of new releases, but these are books that I will be keeping an eye on to see what people think of them and maybe adding them to my TBR in the future. Okay, let's get started. So the first book I'm going to be talking about is one that I actually plan to read, and that is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. And this is coming out on June 1st from Sourcebooks Fire. And I'm planning to read this because I requested an e-advanced reader copy of it on NetGalley and I was approved, so I have an early copy of it, so I should read it. I went on a little bit of a NetGalley requesting binge earlier this year, a few months ago, and so I'm a little bit behind on making my way through those. But I do plan to still read this one. Anyways, this is a YA fantasy. It sounds like it's a contemporary fantasy, and I requested this one because, one, it's about witches, but it's about witches that manipulate the weather, and it kind of like has to do with climate change, which I thought sounded really interesting. The very last paragraph of the synopsis on Goodreads says, "Practical magic meets Twister in this debut contemporary fantasy standalone about heartbreaking power, the terror of our collapsing atmosphere, and the ways we unknowingly change our fate." And I don't know, that just sounded really interesting, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. The next book coming out that I'm excited about is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. This is going to be the first book in a new series called Burning Kingdoms, and this is another one that I should be reading and you should be hearing about from me at some point this summer, because this is another one that I requested off of NetGalley and was approved for. This is a high fantasy, an adult high fantasy that is coming out on June 8th from Orbit. I was interested in this book because I've heard a lot of good things about Tasha Suri's other series. I think it's a duology. First one is Empire of Sand and Realm of Ash. I've heard a lot of good things about those two books. I haven't read them yet, but I definitely eventually plan to. But when I saw that she was coming out with a new series, I got excited about that and requested it on NetGalley. Not really thinking that I'd get approved for it, but I did. The first paragraph of the synopsis really caught my eye. It says, "Author of Empire of Sand and Realm of Ash, Tasha Suri's The Jasmine Throne, beginning a new trilogy set in a world inspired by the history and epics of India," which sounds really cool, "in which a captive princess and a maidservant in possession of forbidden magic become unlikely allies on a dark journey to save their empire from the princess's traitor brother." That sounds really good. So I'm super excited about this one, and hopefully I get around to reading it soon. The next book I want to talk about is also coming out on June 8th. This is an adult fantasy, maybe like historical fantasy, titled The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I have like 3 books on this anticipated releases video or list that have wolf in the title. Apparently that is a buzzword that I don't think I was aware that I had, but apparently I like books that have wolf in the title. This is coming out on June 8th from Harper Voyager. The thing that caught my eye was the first paragraph of the synopsis. It says, "In the vein of Naomi Novik's New York Times bestseller Spinning Silver," which I really enjoyed, and Catherine Arden's national bestseller The Bear and the Nightingale, which I haven't read yet, but I should. I think I would like it. This unforgettable debut, inspired by Hungarian history and Jewish mythology, follows a young pagan woman with hidden powers and a one-eyed captain of the woodsmen as they form an unlikely alliance to thwart a tyrant. And I just thought the inspirations and the comparisons, Spinning Silver and The Bear and the Nightingale, that was really intriguing to me, so I put this on my list. I don't think I'm going to read this one anytime soon, but I'm very curious what other people are going to think about it, especially people who have read and enjoyed Spinning Silver and The Bear and the Nightingale. Will they think that those comparisons hold up or not? I am super curious. Okay, the next book that I am excited about is another one that has wolf in the title. It is For the Wolf by Hannah F. Witten. It looks like this is going to be the first book in a series called Wilderwood. This is coming out on June 15th, also from Orbit Books. This one I have requested on NetGalley and I was denied, very sadly. The synopsis just sounds so good. It does say for fans of Uprooted and The Bear and the Nightingale, so another book that is compared to those two. It says for the fans of those books comes a dark fantasy novel about a young woman who must be sacrificed to the legendary Wolf of the Wood to save her kingdom. But not all legends are true, and the wolf isn't the only danger lurking in the Wilderwood. I'm not sure, but I think this might be a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. One of the main characters is named Red, so I'm pretty sure it's a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. Have I read any Little Red Riding Hood retellings? I don't think I have, but there's another book on this list, the other one that has wolf in the title, that is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. I just think that I'm interested in those retellings, but I don't think I've actually read any yet. I know I have been interested in other Little Red Riding Hood retellings. It is a debut, and you never know with debuts how it's gonna go, so that does make me a little bit nervous, but I'm super curious about this one. The next book I'm excited about is My Contrary Mary. This is the first book in a series called Mary. This is by 3 authors, Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but these 3 authors have worked on 3 other books together. They were like loose companion novels, and that series was called The Lady Janies or My Lady Janies or something like that. But in that series, they took 3 different famous historical Janes and did like a retelling of their story, added a fantastical element, and they were also like kind of comical and funny. I only read 2 of the 3 Jane books. Anyways, it looks like they're doing it all over again, but this time about famous historical Marys. So this one takes place in the French Renaissance, and it's about Mary, Queen of Scotland. So it sounds like Mary is a shapeshifter in this retelling, but it's a secret that could cost her her head or a tail. I just think these books are a lot of fun. They're lighthearted, they're funny. So I'm excited that they're doing this again with a different set of characters. I don't think I said this one's coming out on June 22nd from Harper Teen. Okay, and then I have one more book that is coming out in June, and that is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This is an adult thriller, mystery thriller, and it's coming out on June 29th by Dutton Books. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I am a pretty big Riley Sager fan. I have read all of Riley Sager's books except for one, and I have given them all 5 stars. I've really enjoyed them. He just writes thrillers that keep me on the edge of my seat and are so fun to read. Most or all of them I have buddy read with my friend Rachel from The Shades of Orange, and we are actually buddy reading this one as well. We both got advanced reader copies from NetGalley, and I am in the middle of reading Survive the Night right now. Let me tell you, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I really went into this not knowing what it's about at all. Let me just read you the first little synopsis, otherwise I'm going to tell you way too much about this book. It's November 1991. George W. Bush is in the White House, Nirvana's in the tape deck, and a movie-obsessed college student, Charlie Jordan, is in a car with a man who might be a serial killer. And what's interesting is, I guess the title of the book kind of gives you a hint of this. It's titled Survive the Night. But the whole story takes place over one night. So it's split into sections, and each section takes place over like 1 hour of time. I don't want to say too much, but I'm having fun with it. And if you like thrillers, definitely keep an eye out for my thoughts in like my wrap-ups and reading vlogs and stuff on this one. And I should do a review for it when I'm done. Okay, moving on to July. The first book on my list from July is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, which is going to be the first book in a series by the same name. This is a YA fantasy that is coming out on July 6th from Alfred A. Knopf Books for Young Readers. This one I'm interested in mostly because of, well, the author, but also the cover. My friend Elle has been talking about the cover for this book for a really long time, basically since it was revealed, but it's the UK cover that is absolutely gorgeous. I love the color palette on this cover. But this author is the author of the Spin the Dawn duology, which I haven't read, but my friend Elle really enjoyed, and I want to read eventually. So I was aware of this author because of Spin the Dawn when I heard that she was coming out with a new book, and Elle showed me the UK cover that is absolutely gorgeous. I was like, ooh, that's going on my anticipated releases list. So the first paragraph of the synopsis says, "A princess in exile, the boy she left at the altar, 6 enchanted cranes, and a dragon from the deepest sea." From the author of Spin the Dawn comes a breathtakingly original fantasy inspired by East Asian folklore and perfect for fans of Lee Bardugo or Tomi Adeyemi. I always love Asian-inspired fantasies, so definitely intrigued by this one. I'm not sure when I will get around to reading it. I don't know if I want to read Spin the Dawn first or not, because typically I like to read authors' backlists in order of when they came out. So we'll see, but I'm definitely interested to see what other people are going to think of this one. The next book that I am excited about is Capture the Crown by Jennifer Estep, something like that. And this is going to be the first book in a new series called Gargoyle Queen, and this is one that I have an early copy of, so you should be hearing my thoughts about it at some point. This is coming out on July 6th from Harper Voyager, and it is a YA fantasy, I believe. So I have actually never heard of this author, Jennifer Estep, but she has a huge backlist, but I haven't actually heard of her before, which I'm a little surprised by. But I thought this cover looked interesting, and I thought the synopsis sounded interesting. It has one of my buzzwords in it. Best-selling author Jennifer Estep returns to her Crown of Shards world with an all-new trilogy and a bold new heroine who protects her kingdom from magic, murder, and mayhem by moonlighting as a spy. So that's the part that caught my eye, moonlighting as a spy. Spy is one of my buzzwords. I thought that sounded really good. It does sound like this is a new series set in an established world. I'll be going into it not knowing anything about the world or the other books that are set in this world because I haven't read them. And hopefully that doesn't impact my reading experience too much. Okay, so the next new release I am excited about is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This is going to be the first book in a new series called Monk and Robot. This is an adult science fiction book, and it's coming out on July 13th from Tor.com. And it does look like this might be a novella. It says it's only 160 pages, but I'm interested in this obviously because of the author, Becky Chambers. She is very well known for her Wayfarer series, which admittedly I have not read. I have read one Becky Chambers. I read her novella, To Be Taught If Fortunate. I read that last year for the BookTube SFF Awards, and I enjoyed it. But she's known for having really good character work in her books, her stories being really character driven. But that's really all I know about this. It's on my list because Becky Chambers has a new book coming out, or I guess a novella. The next book I am excited about is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This is an adult horror book that is coming out on July 13th from Berkeley Books, and I have yet to read a Grady Hendrix book. He is a well-known horror author. I think I've had a lot of his new books, or when they were coming out, I've had a lot of them on my new releases video, and just have never gotten around to reading any of them. But a lot of people love his books. This one is about, as the title says, a support group for final girls. If you don't know what a final girl is, it's kind of like a horror thriller trope where there's only one girl that survives out of the whole group. But I don't really know too much more about that other than what the title implies and the fact that it's a Grady Hendrix book, and I'm super excited to see what people are going to think of it. The next book that I am excited about is the last book in this list that has wolf in the title. It's titled Red Wolf by Rachel Vincent. This is definitely a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. It says, "This high-stakes, pacey reimagining of Little Red Riding Hood is perfect for fans of Stephanie Garber and Megan Spooner. Admittedly, I haven't read either of those authors, but I've heard of them before. So this is a YA fantasy, and it's coming out on July 20th from Harper Teen. And I don't know much about it. It's just on my list because it's a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, and I thought that sounded fun. I don't know, it sounds like from the synopsis that maybe the main character, it says Adele is one of a long line of guardians, women who are able to change into wolves and who are tasked with the job of protecting their village while never letting any of the villagers know of their existence. It sounds interesting. Okay, the next book that I'm excited about is The Past is Red by Catherine M. Valente. This is an, I believe, adult science fiction book that is coming out on July 20th from Tor.com. This is on my list because of the author, Catherine M. Valente. I've just heard a lot about her books. I haven't read any of her books yet, but I would like to. She's written a number of things. She's written the Fairyland middle grade books, but also Deathless is like really popular that she's written. And then I think she's written, what is the name of that? She's written like this sci-fi that has like 1920s vibes or something. I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about a bunch of her books, but I haven't read any of them. This one takes place on Earth, but it sounds kind of like dystopian or post-apocalyptic. The main character lives in a town called Garbage Town. Okay, so it says Catherine M. Valente, the best-selling and award-winning creator of space opera and the girl who circumnavigated fairyland, returns with The Past is Red, the enchanting, dark, funny, angry story of a girl who made two terrible mistakes. She told the truth and she dared to love the world. I think this one sounds interesting. I'm curious what other people are going to think of it. The next one that I am excited about, I'm really excited about this one, and it's one that I will be reading because I have an advanced reader copy of it, and it is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is going to be the first book in a new series called The Radiant Emperor. This is an adult high fantasy, historical fantasy. I believe it's a Mulan retelling, and it's coming out on July 20th from Tor Books. So it says, Mulan meets the Song of Achilles in Shelley Parker Chan's She Who Became the Sun, a bold, queer, and lyrical reimagining of the rise of the founding emperor of the Ming Dynasty from an amazing new voice in literary fantasy. I definitely thought that Mulan meets the Song of Achilles sounded really interesting. Any sort of Asian-inspired fantasy is like a buzzword for me. And the cover of this looks really cool. It's actually how I first found out about this book. My friend Jessie May shared the cover somewhere and said that she thought it was really pretty. And I totally agree. I love this cover. I actually like the US cover better than the UK cover. A lot of times I prefer UK covers, but this time I like the US one. The next book that I am excited about, it's the last one for July, and that is Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. This is coming out on July 20th from Delacorte Books, and it is a YA fantasy. I am interested in this one because of the author, Erin A. Craig. Last year, I'm pretty sure it was last year, I read her debut novel, or maybe it was 2019, because this book came out in 2019. Anyways, I have read House of Salt and Sorrows by her, which was a YA fantasy that had a little bit of like creepy moments with ghosts and stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the fantasy element was fun. I like the world building, and I like the creepy moments. When I saw that she was coming out with a new book, I was excited about it. It does look like this might be like a contemporary fantasy. There are monsters mentioned in the synopsis, so I'm hoping there's going to be some horror elements in it as well. But yeah, I am very much looking forward to hearing what people think of Small Favors. Okay, and the very last book that I'm going to talk to you about today is Nolan by Michael J. Sullivan, which is going to be the first book in a new series called The Rise and Fall. This is an adult high fantasy book, and it's coming out on August 3rd from Grim Oak Press. So this is the only August release that I have to talk about. And I put this on my list because of the author, Michael J. Sullivan. I've heard about his books from a bunch of people. My friend Joshana is a huge fan of his books. He's got 2 other series that are set in the same world. The 2 series are the Riaria series and the Legends of the First Empire series. This new series, The Rise and Fall, is also set in the same world as those. So I don't know if I'm going to read this one first. It does say you can. It says, from Michael J. Sullivan, the New York Times, USA Today, and Washington Post bestselling author, a new adventure begins with the first book of the Rise and Fall trilogy. While set in the same world as Riaria and Legends of the First Empire, this is a standalone series, so no prior knowledge of the other books is required to enjoy it to its fullest. So it says I can start with this one. I just don't know if I will be starting with this one. But I've heard good things about his other series. They've been on my TBR forever. I just haven't gotten around to starting them. But I had no idea that he was coming out with a new book set in this world, a new series set in this world, and I was excited to see that, so I had to put it on my list. Alright guys, those are 15 books that are coming out in June, July, and August that I am excited about. Not all of them I'm going to read. Some of them I will. A lot of them I'm just going to see how well they are received and decide later if I'm going to actually read them or not. Let me know down in the comment section one of these books that you guys are really excited about, or if there's something else that you guys are excited about that I didn't talk about. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.